Angie, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And you're training with Adidas.
Yes.
Adidas Group Pure Athletics.
Yes.
Correct. What's your favorite distance?
200 for sure.
What do you like about the 200?
I think it allows me just enough time to get to my top end speed. It's really like the strongest part of my race. And the curve, running the curve is so much fun. Like coming off the curve, being able to just reaccelerate. Nothing better.
It's so dramatic.
Yes.
And I love watching the race, and it's just exciting. It really is. Before we went on, we were talking about Doha.
Yes.
You placed fourth there, and you said that was difficult.
Yes.
What was the tough part of that for you? Had you told yourself you wanted to be really focused on medaling?
Yes, I really went into that meet really focused on like wanting to get a medal and just kind of proving, because everyone all year was like, it's gonna be really tough for the college kids to compete at Doha. It's gonna be really tough for them. So I was kind of like trying to prove like we could do it. Like we can compete on a team. We can we are valuable at that time. So. Being that close, even though I was still excited about making my first World's Final, I was like, geez, I just wish I could have, pulled it out and got a medal.
Is your first language French?
No. So first I learned Creole.
Okay.
So my parents are from Haiti. So I know both English and Creole.
Okay, I was just curious. I started to hear a little bit of an accent, and it's really funny because before the pandemic, I'd be traveling in Boston and New York, and all my drivers either from Cote d'Ivoire or Senegal, and the kids would crack up because I'd pick up on their accents. I said, well, I can understand your French because it's not Parisian and it's not so fast. So always interested in that. How did you get into track and field?
So I used to race the neighborhood boys, and I would always beat them. So my brothers one day was like, "You're gonna run track. You're just gonna run it." I was like, "I don't really want to run track. I'm just just doing me, just having fun." And then they forced me to go to a practice one time, and then ever since then, I just fell in love with the sport. I was like, "This is actually amazing."
Where'd you go to high school?
Grandview High School in Missouri.
Where?
Missouri.
Where in Missouri?
Kansas City.
Okay, I was raised in St. Louis, went to DeSmet,
Wow.
and then moved out to California back in about 74. My only time in Kansas City was taking the train from St. Louis to Kansas City and then out to California.
Okay, so we had a similar from Missouri to California
Yeah.
journey.
What was that journey like for you? I mean, Midwest is a real Midwest and California are two totally different cultures.
So much of a different culture. I remember when I first got to California, I was like, this is just so different. I feel like people in the Midwest are a little bit more, I would say uptight. Everything is very everything's based off respect.
Yeah.
And then you get to California and everyone's very laid back, and it's like, are you intentionally being disrespectful? No, it's just how it is. Everyone's just chill.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh wow, that was a very big difference. And then of course, a big city, I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
So trying to get around, and there's so much more party, there's so much more to do. I'm just like, no, I gotta keep focused.
What is Claremont like for you now?
I love Claremont. That's back to my speed of Missouri.
Yeah.
Calm, but they're of course you can go to the city if you need to.
Sure.
Drive out to Orlando. There's things to do, but Claremont, it's quiet. I focus on training, hang out with friends occasionally. But
How big is your training group?
I think it's about 15 to 18 of us.
And how many young women are you training with?
So there's Gina, Slara, Marielle, me, Janelle, so 5 other women.
Okay, cool. And you've been with Coach Rahman for a bit?
No, so I just switched. So when I first graduated from SC, I stayed there for 1 year after, and then I switched to Lance in September.
Oh, wow. Okay. If you're talking to a group of young women right now who are thinking about making the move from collegiate level to elite, what have you learned in your short experience? For you, what's the biggest difference between being a collegiate athlete and an elite professional?
So the switch is definitely a big difference, because you go from having everything laid out for you to then you have to make all of your decisions for yourself, your schedule for yourself. your free time is not as booked up anymore. Like when you're in a college athlete and they have meetings and they schedule everything out for you. So I think it's really important to have good people around you and create structure and keep that structure. And it's okay to ask for help. I think like my biggest thing was, okay, Nick, I need to figure out everything for myself. And if I ask people for help, then I'm never gonna figure it out, because that's what happened in college. But it's okay, like there's people there, there's resources there to ask for help, so do it. Like people want to see you succeed, and you should like let them help.
What was the experience like seeking out an agent? Was that a difficult decision for you?
No, not really, because so I talked in Doha. I talked to a few agents. I was trying to decide if I was going to go pro or not. But I felt like the people who really stuck with me and like still were there, I was like, okay, I know who stayed committed even when I went back to school another year. So when I finished up my 2020 season through COVID, I remember who was still there, people that still showed interest even leaving then, and I was like, okay, I know that we talked a lot. He still showed that he was still super committed, even though I wasn't running the best times I was in 2019. Yeah. And I knew that that's like the type of people I wanted to be around. I needed that support, that people that believed in me.
So you run the 100. I've seen you run the 100 in 11:06. You run the 200. What are you and Coach working on right now?
So right now, we're just trying to work on like fitness, just making sure that I can continue to handle the practices of sprinting right now, just kind of get my body back to where it was, because I didn't run a lot during the summer, so I wasn't as in shape. I had a lot of time off compared to the rest of my training partners, so I was just trying to get back into like the groove of things. And like I said, like last year wasn't my best year. I wasn't able to run nearly as fast, so I was just trying to get back to that space. And I feel like it's been really working. Training's completely different. There's a lot more volume, and I feel like I have a really good base right now.
Who coached you at USC?
So when I was at USC as a student, it was Coach Carroll. Then she left to Georgia. So then I trained with Quincy Watts.
Yeah, I know Quincy. Yeah, I remember him when he was a wee lad doing a little bit of running, and he was fun. Did you like USC?
I love USC.
Yeah.
Trojan for life.
And what was your major?
Communication.
And you have your bachelor's degree?
My bachelor's and my master's at USC.
Awesome, congratulations. That's cool, it's very cool. I'm trying to go back to school to finish graduate school. I started 30 years ago, and I'm going to try to go back. So, yeah, no, my son is encouraging me. He said he wants to be able to call me doctor someday. So,
I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah. Does graduate school and training work together, do you think?
It definitely does. I mean, everything's gonna be a balance. Trying to maintain everything, but again, having that support system and people around you that are willing to help you and through it was like the biggest help for me. But it's possible.
What does Coach Brauman tell you right now? What does he tell you he wants you to focus on? I've sat there and I've literally sat there for a week and observed his workouts and watched him, and I'm fascinated with coach-athlete relationships. Is your relationship with him different than the relationship you had in college with your coaches?
Yes, because in college, I feel like when you get to college, your coaches kind of assume like a parental role.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're professional, everything's about business. It's very structured, and like, not that you can't have that relationship, but it's a very much different relationship. You're coming in to do business and you're getting out. Whereas in college, they're responsible for everything throughout your day. So, but we have a really good relationship. He's been telling me to focus on right now just like technique and position work. So me focusing on my arms, because if you watch me run, I kind of like swing out my arm. So we've been kind of focusing on that and making sure that we're just technically sound.
What's the best part of your race?
I would say it's between coming off the curve, that transition, and then probably like the last 50 meters, because I'm just tunnel vision, I'm trying to get to that finish line, and most likely it's going to be hard to beat me there.
What is the part that you need the most improvement?
I would say right now the first 60, because that's what really sets up the race and really helps you with that transition off the turn.
Did you do much indoor this season?
No, I didn't.
Do you like indoor season?
Typically, I don't like indoor, but I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that can be really helpful to set up the season, and it kind of helps break up training.
Sure. Yeah, is that you guys start training probably in early November?
Yes.
And then you go all the way through, and then the nationals aren't until July this year, really late.
Yes.
So you got to lose your mind if you're not getting races in, right?
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited that we're racing here soon at the end of the month.
Do you like to travel?
Yes.
Okay.
I love seeing new places. Love trying new foods, meeting new people.
Will you be at the Adidas City Games?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Have you done a street track
No,
before?
so I'm super excited about that actually, because I'm like, oh, I've never experienced that. I'm used to being on the track, so like this would be something different. I've never been to Atlanta, so I'm like, okay,
Atlanta's a fun city. Have you done a 200 flat before?
No. Well, actually, I have. At practice, we have grass runs, and we run the 200 straight, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's an old. That's a nice way of putting it. I remember. I mean, the Boston meet, because I was there almost every year, and watching the 150 was long. Watching the 200, I was just like going, God. It's fascinating. I mean, you know, and also just to keep the way they have to build a track, I always thought that was kind of neat too. You're a 200 meter runner who dabbles in the 100.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes.
Is this 200 meter runner going to do a 400 too someday?
I hope not. I don't want to say what I won't do because I don't want Coach B to get any ideas. But I would like to stay away from the 400.
Well, I used to tease Allison every time I asked her. She knew over 18 years. I asked her when she was going to do the 400 hurdles because Coach Kersey would train her for that, and she would just give me, you know. I was like, come on, Bobby, please. That would be a story for me to write about. You know?
Right.
But it's interesting to see what the distances you like. You go, God, I don't do the 400. I interviewed Femke Bull a month ago, and I said, Femke, 500, that's a little long for you. And she goes, yes, it is. I said, so? She goes, no, I'm not doing the 600. And I said, okay. So I kind of knew. So it's interesting to see what people see as their limits and stuff like that. The 200 is a really competitive event in the U.S.
Absolutely.
You're going to have your A game in July.
Yes.
And you're looking forward to that?
Absolutely. As a competitor, you want to go up against the best. You want to race the best. You want to beat the best. So, like, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that I'm at my best.
Are you a competitive person?
Yes.
Do you compete in everything?
Everything.
Board games, stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very serious.
Yes.
Back at SC, one of our old teammates would even play Uno with me anymore. It got so serious.
No, it keeps it. It's fascinating to see because some athletes completely shut it down when they're off the track. You know, it's just like they're Mr. or Mrs. Mello, you know, and then other people are just competitive in everything they do. And I'm fascinated to see
everything.
Yeah. How do your parents encourage you to stay with sports? Are they happy that you're checking new stuff out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My mom is like thrilled. She's like, especially since they didn't have to pay for college, they were like pushing that, like you're gonna go to college and you're gonna make sure you know you get paid for free, and then you're gonna go to one of the best schools.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
like they were really thrilled and happy, and they're still excited to see what comes next.
That's cool. Have you competed in Europe before?
No.
Okay.
So hopefully, sometime
Wow, this
year.
is going to be fun for you. Yeah. Have you competed at the Prefontaine?
Nope.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Diamond League is really a lot of fun, and some of the small European meets are really cool. You know, Adidas puts on a lot of neat stuff. The City Games, I think, is one of the most innovative things that they do. I really liked the one they did in Boston. It's very interesting to see them now move it to Atlanta, but the Atlanta Track Club is really trying to do some neat things there, so I think that'll be very, very cool. How will you open up? Will Adidas, will Atlanta be the first outdoor thing for you, or are you going to do something for that?
I think we're running at Florida Relays, running some relays there,
Okay.
and then Tom Jones will actually open.
Will you do 4x1?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever do 4x4?
I hope not.
Did you do that in college?
We did it like once in the beginning of the season, but no, I wasn't on it.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be your favorite thing.
No.
Did you ever do the hurdles?
So I hurdled my freshman year.
Really?
High school. Yes. I did 300 hurdles and the 100 hurdles.
Why did you decide to move to the 100 and the 200?
So I didn't ever like the hurdles particularly, but my coach was like, you're gonna do the hurdles, you're gonna do the sprints. So I would just be going back and forth between the two, and then I had like a knee injury my freshman year at the end of the season, so I decided to just stick to the 100 and the 200.
You have survived 16 and a half minutes with me. Done really, really well. Okay, two last questions. What question haven't I asked you that you want people to know about you? Is there anything that you want people to know about you that I haven't asked you?
That's a good question.
And you know why I came with that? Just so you know, I was talking to some athletes, because I do interviews every week, and someone just said, "Hey, you didn't ask me about this," and I said, "Okay, I started." So I just kind of throw that in. So, is there something that I haven't asked you that you think that people should know
About me.
about you?
What's an interesting fact that most people don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, so an interesting fact about me is that in 2019, I competed in Doha without being able to breathe through my nose.
What happened?
So for some reason, like at the end of 2018, I just I got a really bad sinus infection, and my sinuses got really kind of clogged, so I wasn't able to breathe through my nose for about a year and a half. So I got surgery like as soon as I got back from Doha.
Wow. Well, then you really should give yourself a break for doing fourth in the world with not being able to breathe through your nose. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What was the first sport you did?
I played volleyball.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna go to college for volleyball.
If you weren't doing track and field, or if you weren't doing a sprint event, what event in track and field would you do?
Ooh, I also put javelin.
Javelin rocks. That's good. Yeah, I coached community college, and I would go to the volleyball practices, and I would get the best spikers. And then I would go to the basketball team, promise I'd keep the men and girls in shape, and I discus throwers, but I also got high jumpers and triple jumpers from basketball too. But it was fun. No, javelin's such a cool event.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, you have survived, and I am most impressed, and I will be looking forward to seeing you. And I've seen, the thing is, like, I'll see athletes compete, and what'll happen then, it's like, especially with the pandemic, the interview stuff was so weird, and it was the biggest challenge was, like, I did all these Zoom interviews, and I did 120 Zoom interviews during the pandemic. I did 2 a week with athletes, but it's still a difference doing something on Zoom and then meeting somebody face to face, and then seeing you in a non-competitive environment too. But Angie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And let me just go back and pull up my lovely, the wonders of technology. My son does not know how I can, not burn water, but with Angie Annélus, and she is a recent graduate of USC. I got to say nice things about that school. And she now trains with Lance Brauman, and she was 4th in the 200 meters in Doha. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the road to Budapest.
Thank you.